In this lesson, we're going to tackle a subject that's not really talked about a whole bunch, and that's going to be androgyny. So, whenever at least I think of androgyny, for people who don't know, androgyny is just a failure to identify the gender. It's mixed. It's difficult to discern. That's what androgyny means. So, whenever I think of that, I definitely think of Tilda Swinton. So she's an actress you've probably seen before. And why does she look weird? I guess is the word. Why is she different? She's obviously a woman, but it's not clear. It's in the middle. It's strange. What's going on? Well, if you take a look and apply those rules, those guidelines that I showed you, you can see a couple of things. Well, first, the hair really matters. Short hair definitely gives her a more boyish look. She has very thin lips. That's a male feature. Look at that jawline. It's round, sure, but then it gets to the chin and it's super square and straight when it goes out. Her zygomatic protrudes outside as if the bone structure is just bigger like a man's, right? She has really big ears, but she has big eyes and she has thin eyebrows and a very delicate looking nose. So can you see how, with a combination of things, both male and female, you can get to mixed androgynous results? If you take into account that she has little to no breasts as far as size, she's fairly straight up and down. She has no curves. It's difficult to look at her and say she's a woman, she's, what we call sexy, voluptuous, whatever. It's difficult because she's not any of that. So, taking a look at her, this picture makes her look a lot more feminine, right? Why is that? Well, this angle here shows the good parts. The big eyes, the fairly delicate, well-constructed nose, and the super nice and round shapes that you tend to see on a female's face, right? You can still see that straight jaw. Straight lines are not normal. Those are manly features. And those thin lips, right? But you can see how this image is more flattering for her because she tends to have that thinner neck that women have. She has a small chin too when you look at it in this angle. So it all makes a difference. But it doesn't apply just to women. It applies to men. Now, I guess if you're a big fan of Jared Leto, you're going to say, no, how could you say that Jared Leto is androgynous? Well, he is, if you take a look, because he has a very small chin. He has a delicate, very well-constructed nose, more female, big eyes, thicker lower lip, no space in between the philtrum, and he doesn't have a strong jaw. It's more curved. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't have to be 100% spot on, but you can see how he's more feminine than most guys in that sense. Let's take Alicia Coppola, for example. She's a beautiful woman, in my opinion, but she has very male features. Look at her jaw. Super big. Look at the chin. Super big. But it's all round. So even though size is more of a man's thing, it's more of a male thing, she has it in some spots. She doesn't have that big of lips, but she has a very delicate nose. Her eyebrows are in between. She has those big eyes. But her cheekbones are so soft, so round, that it all works to sort of make a different package, right? It looks different. That's what I'm saying about androgyny. It doesn't have to go one way or the other completely. Androgyny is not necessarily completely in the middle all the time. You can have certain degrees of that. Some people can consider women that have more manly facial features to be much more beautiful than just the soft, super delicate ones. It's completely up to taste. I think Alicia Coppola is very beautiful because of these features, because it makes her different, right? Makes her a strong presence. Take a look at David Bowie. David Bowie's interesting. Small chin, round, very round, not so strong, super curvy, delicate nose, small eyes. It all works together to form a different kind of image. That's why he, did the Ziggy Stardust persona, because he could be so androgynous with these looks, right? It's a different mix. This guy, for example, you can clearly see from far away, it's difficult to tell if it's a guy or if it's a girl. Long hair, soft features, big lips, big eyes. It all makes a difference. Take a look at Glenn Close in this image here. It could look like an elderly man. Why not? Short hair. Look at that. She has a really strong zygomatic. She has a big chin. She has thin lips. You could never say Glenn Close is one of those women who's like incredibly beautiful by today's standards. It's not the case. But you can see what I mean about the androgyny. Grace Jones is an interesting character. Super big zygomatic, really big lips, delicate nose, but really strong, sharp features, right? This is another shot of Alicia Coppola, which I think shows the difference, right, of how you can have these male features and still have a beautiful face, but you have to sort of gauge it properly. It's not so easy. Like this picture here of Tilda Swinton. It's fairly in the middle. You don't know if it's a guy, if it's a girl. It's different. You know it is because you know who Tilda Swinton is, hopefully, but it's difficult to say. I also think this image here is fairly androgynous because I think if you put this next to Jared Leto, right? Let's see if we can get Jared Leto here. You can see how they're not that far apart, right? So hopefully, after this video here, you can see androgyny in a little bit of a different light now that you know about the facial structure. And we're finally going to hop on to ZBrush and do some sculpting. So we're going to sculpt a male face, which is the easiest one to make, is what people generally make when they're trying to sculpt. And then we're going to transform it into a female face. The reason we cover androgyny in this course is because that is, generally speaking, where everybody lands when they don't know how to sculpt women. They do something in between. And if you don't know what you're doing, it becomes difficult to see the sculpt as you want to see it. So pick your reference accordingly. If you want to sculpt a female face, pick somebody that you like, that you think is beautiful to you. Your personal tastes are going to dictate, and then you should have a library of reference with all the people that you consider attractive to use on your sculpts, to always aim for that, to always be pleased by your work in that sense. Then when you're going for something on the opposite spectrum, then you need to have some reference for that as well. People that, a lot of people consider to be attractive, but you don't, you want to put those into a reference folder, things like that. But hopefully this showed you all the different variations that can be achieved if they're just applied in the right way. And Mother Nature always does, it seems. So let's go ahead and in the next lesson jump into ZBrush and do some sculpting. I'll see you guys there.